The great meeting room of Nexus Prime floated in the darkness of space. Inside, 12 different alien species sat around a massive table. This was the Galactic Council, the most important group in known space. They met every month to talk about trade, war, peace, and the future of all civilizations. Veltar stood at the head of the table. His crystal body caught the light and threw rainbows across the walls. As chairman of the council, he had seen many strange things in his 300 years of life. But today felt different. Something was wrong. "The meeting will begin," Veltar announced. His voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "We will start with trade reports from each sector." The representatives began their reports. Kavi, the insect-like delegate from the hive worlds, clicked and buzzed as she spoke. Her 6 arms moved quickly as she shared data about food shipments and mineral trades. Behind her, thousands of smaller insects that made up her extended mind hummed softly. "Sector 7 shows good growth," Kavi reported. "Metal production is up by 12%. Food shipments are on time." Next came Thexila from the warrior planet Drakmor. He was 7 feet tall with 4 arms and skin like armor. His people were known for their fighting skills, but they also handled security for many trade routes. "Pirates attacked 3 ships, near the outer ring," Thexila growled. "We stopped them. No cargo was lost." One by one, each representative gave their report. The fish-like Aquarians talked about water worlds. The energy beings from Solaris discussed power stations. The machine race called the Builders shared construction updates, but someone was missing. Veltar looked at the empty chair where the human representative usually sat. Ambassador Hyun Woo from Earth had not come to the last 3 meetings. This was very unusual. Humans were always on time. They were known for being reliable and helpful. "Has anyone heard from Ambassador Hyun Woo?" Veltar asked. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to the empty chair. Yara, the communications officer from the Centauri Republic, raised her blue hand. Her people looked almost human but had silver eyes and could live for 500 years. "I tried to contact the human embassy yesterday," Yara said. No one answered. "I thought maybe their communication system was broken." "Try again now," Veltar ordered. Yara touched a device on her wrist. Lights flashed as she sent signals across space to human ships, space stations, and planets. Everyone waited. The room was so quiet they could hear the soft hum of the station's air recyclers. After 10 minutes, Yara looked up. Her silver eyes were wide with surprise. "Nothing," she whispered. "No response from any human location." "What do you mean, nothing?" asked Dr. Zeph, the floating gas cloud representative from the Nebula worlds. "I mean exactly that," Yara replied. "I sent signals to 47 human locations. Space stations, planets, ships, trading posts. Nothing came back, not even an automated message." The council members looked at each other with growing worry. Humans ran some of the most important trade routes in the galaxy. They helped with medical research. They fixed problems that other species could not solve. Kavi's insects buzzed louder. "This is impossible. Yesterday I received a shipment from human traders in Sector 12. They cannot all disappear in one day." "Maybe their long-range communications broke," suggested Mira, the small furry economist from the Federation of Peaceful Worlds. "This has happened before with other species." But Thexila shook his massive head. "No, humans have backup systems. For their backup systems, they never go completely silent." Veltar felt a cold feeling in his crystal core. Something was very wrong. Humans had been part of the council for 60 years. They were not the strongest or the smartest species, but they were useful. They worked hard. They made friends with everyone. They helped solve problems between different alien races. "Send a ship to check on them," Veltar decided. "Use the fastest vessel we have." Captain Rox from the Swift Runner fleet stood up. His people were known for having the fastest ships in the galaxy. "I can reach the nearest human outpost in 6 hours." "Do it," Veltar ordered. "Report back immediately." As Captain Rox left the room, the other council members continued their meeting. But no one could focus. They kept looking at the empty human chair. Young Su had worked as a diplomatic helper for 5 years. He was not a council member, but he knew the humans better than most aliens. He had learned their language and customs. He had eaten their food and watched their entertainment. During a break in the meeting, Young-Soo approached Veltar. "Chairman, I think we should check all human locations at the same time," Young-Soo said quietly. "If something happened to them, we need to know how big the problem is." Veltar agreed. He sent messages to every council member's home fleet. Within hours, ships were racing toward human space stations, colonies, and trading posts across the galaxy. The reports came back over the next several hours. Each one was the same: empty, silent, no humans anywhere. The human research station on Kepler 442b was deserted. The mining operation on asteroid belt Zeta 9 was shut down. The medical facility on New Geneva showed no life signs. Even the human embassy on the Council's homeworld was empty. But here was the strange part. Nothing was destroyed. The buildings were still there. The machines still worked. The lights were still on. It was as if the humans had simply walked away from everything they had built. "This is not an attack," reported Commander Blix from the survey team that checked the human embassy. "No signs of fighting, no damage. They just left." "Left for where?" Veltar demanded. "Unknown, Chairman. There are no clues." As the reports continued to come in, a terrible truth became clear. Humans had not been attacked. They had not been kidnapped. They had not died from disease or accident. They had chosen to leave, all of them, at the same time, without saying goodbye. The council meeting continued late into the night, but no one could concentrate on normal business. How do you discuss trade routes when one of your most important partners has vanished? How do you plan for the future when a key piece of your civilization has simply walked away? Veltar dismissed the meeting early. As the representatives left for their ships, the chairman stood alone in the great room. He looked out the massive window at the stars. Somewhere out there, 60 billion humans had disappeared without a word. They had left behind their homes, their friends, their place in galactic society. The question that haunted Veltar was simple: why? 3 weeks had passed since the humans disappeared. The Galactic Council had put together the largest investigation team in their history. Ships from 12 different species were searching every corner of human space, looking for clues. Captain Dae-hyun commanded the exploration vessel Wanderer. His ship was not the biggest or the fastest, but it was known for finding things that others missed. The council had asked him to lead the investigation because his people were neutral. They had no political reasons to hide what they found. "Take us to the research station on Kepler 442b, Dae-hyun told his pilot. "Dr. So-min's team has been there for 2 days. They might have found something." The Wanderer jumped through space using its faster-than-light drive. In minutes, they arrived at a small planet covered in ice and snow. The human research station sat on the surface like a metal flower, its lights still glowing in the cold darkness. Dr. So-min was waiting when Dae-hyun's shuttle landed. She was a xenoarchaeologist, someone who studied the remains of alien civilizations. But this time, she was studying a civilization that had vanished while she was still alive to see it. "What have you found?" Dae-hyun asked as they walked through the empty station. "It is the strangest thing I have ever seen," So-min replied. "Come, I will show you." They walked through corridors that still smelled like human food and cleaning chemicals. The lights worked perfectly, the air was clean and warm. Computer screens showed data that was updating in real time. But there were no people anywhere. "Look at this," So-min said, stopping at a laboratory. The humans were working on something called Project Horizon. They were studying ways to travel to other galaxies. Dae-hyun looked at the equipment. It was more advanced than anything he had seen before. "This technology, we do not have anything like this." "That is what I thought too," So-min agreed. "But look at the dates on these files. They were working on this project for 20 years. How did they hide such advanced research from the council?" They continued walking through the station. In the living quarters, beds were made perfectly. Clothes hung in closets. Personal items sat on desks and tables. It looked like the humans had planned to come back later that same day. "Here is the most interesting part," So-min said, leading him to a small office. On the desk was a simple, Datapad, the only thing left behind in the entire station. Daehyun picked up the device and turned it on. The screen showed a star map, but not like any he had seen before. It showed the galaxy from far above, with a long arrow pointing beyond the outer rim to empty space. "They left this for us to find," So-min said quietly. "This is a message." "What kind of message?" "They are telling us where they went, beyond the galaxy, to places we have never explored." Meanwhile, on the other side of human space, Thexela was investigating the military base on Titan 7. As the Council's military advisor, he wanted to understand how the humans had moved so many people without anyone noticing. The base was huge, built inside a hollow asteroid. It could hold 50,000 people and 1,000 ships. But like everywhere else, it was empty. Thexela studied the security recordings from the last few days before the disappearance. What he saw made his hearts beat faster. The humans had not acted like people who were running away. They had worked calmly and efficiently. They loaded ships with supplies and equipment. They cleaned their rooms. They finished their work projects. They even filed their final reports. "Look at this," Thexela said to his assistant, pointing at a screen. "This human, Jinwoo, spent his last day repairing a water recycler. Why fix something if you are about to abandon it?" The recording showed humans working in teams with perfect coordination. They knew exactly what to take and what to leave behind. Every action was planned and purposeful. "Sir," his assistant said, "we found something strange in the supply records." "What?" "For the past 5 years, this base has been ordering more food and equipment than they needed. The extra supplies were marked as emergency reserves, but there was enough for a journey of several years." Thexela's warrior instincts told him this was important. The humans had been planning their departure for years, maybe decades. They had slowly collected everything they needed for a long trip to an unknown destination. On the trading station in Sector 15, Kavi was discovering something even more surprising. Her insect swarm could process data faster than any computer, and what they found in the human trade records shocked her. "The humans were not dependent on us at all," she reported to the Council via quantum communication. "They made it look like they needed our help, but they were completely self-sufficient." "Explain," came Veltar's crystalline voice across space. "Every trade deal they made, they could have done without us. When they bought metal from the builders, they already had enough metal. When they purchased food from the Aquarians, their own farms produced more than they needed. They were trading because they wanted to, not because they had to." This discovery sent shockwaves through the investigation team. For 60 years, the humans had seemed like junior partners in galactic civilization. They had asked for help with technology. They had bought resources from other species. They had seemed grateful for the guidance of older, more advanced civilizations, but it had all been an act. Dr. Zara, the Council's chief economist, was studying the financial records on the human colony world of New Sol. What she found there changed everything they thought they knew about humans. The entire human economy was a facade, she reported during the daily briefing. They created fake shortages to justify their trade relationships. They pretended to struggle with problems they had already solved. "Why would they do this?" asked Veltar. "I think they were learning from us," Zara replied. "Every trade deal, every technology exchange, every diplomatic meeting was a chance for them to study how we think and work. They were not trying to become like us. They were studying us like scientists study interesting animals." The investigation teams continued their work, but each discovery was more disturbing than the last. The humans had been recording everything. They had detailed files on every alien species, including private information that should have been secret. They knew about the Drakmor's hidden weapon factories. They had maps of the Hive world's secret colonies. They even knew about the Crystalline Council's private meetings that were supposed to be impossible to monitor. "How did they learn all this?" Mira asked during another briefing. "They were better listeners than we thought," replied Young Soo, who had worked with humans more than anyone else. "When we talked to them, we thought we were being careful about secrets, but humans are very good at putting small pieces of information together to see the big picture." As the weeks passed, the investigation revealed the truth that no one wanted to accept. The humans had not been junior partners in galactic civilization. They had been its secret masters, guiding and influencing events while pretending to be grateful students. And now they were gone, leaving behind only empty buildings and a star map pointing to places beyond the known galaxy. The question was no longer where the humans had gone. The question was, what were they planning to do next? 2 months after the human disappearance, the investigation had grown into something much larger. What started as a search for missing people had become an examination of everything the humans had ever done. Every trade deal, every treaty, every friendship was being studied with new eyes. Engineer Jin Ho from the Mechanic Guild was working in the asteroid belt, where humans had been mining for 30 years. His people were experts at building and fixing things, so the council had asked him to study human industrial operations. What Jin Ho found in the asteroid mines changed everything. "This is impossible," Jin Ho muttered as he looked at the mining records. His 4 hands moved quickly over the control panels, checking and double-checking the data. According to the official reports, the human mining operation in asteroid belt Zeta 9 had been barely profitable. The humans claimed they were finding small amounts of rare metals, just enough to justify keeping the operation running. But Jinho's deep scan of the asteroids told a different story. They mined out 90% of the rare Earth elements, Jinho reported to his team. The official report said they found traces, but they actually extracted enough materials to build 1,000 starships. His assistant, a young engineer named Kolho, looked confused. "Where did all the extra materials go?" "That is what we need to find out." Jinho and his team spent days searching through shipping records and transport logs. Slowly, a pattern emerged. Small amounts of materials had been shipped to different human facilities across the galaxy. Each shipment was tiny, too small to notice, but when you added them all together over 30 years, it was an enormous amount of resources. They were stockpiling, Jinho realized. For decades, they were slowly moving materials to secret locations. The same pattern appeared everywhere the investigation team looked. Human farming operations had produced twice as much food as they reported. Human factories had manufactured far more equipment than their sales records showed. Human research stations had made breakthrough discoveries that they never shared with the Council. Council economist Mira was working with a team of the galaxy's best financial experts. Her people, the Peaceful Worlds Federation, were known for their honesty and careful record-keeping. If anyone could figure out the human economy, it was Mira. "I need to show you something," Mira announced during the weekly council meeting. Her usually cheerful voice was serious and worried. She activated a holographic display that filled the meeting room. It showed trade flows between different species over the past 60 years, with human interactions highlighted in blue. "Look at this pattern," Mira said, pointing to the flowing lines of light. "For 60 years we thought the humans needed us. They bought our technology, our resources, our knowledge. But watch what happens when I remove the human trades from the model." The display changed. Suddenly, the other species' economies looked much smaller and weaker. "The humans were not buying from us because they needed our help," Mira explained. "They were buying from us to make us feel important. Every trade deal made us think we were the advanced civilization helping primitive humans. But they were the ones keeping our economies stable." Veltar's crystal body dimmed with shock. "You are saying they were supporting us?" "More than that," Mira replied. "They were managing the entire galactic economy. When the Aquarians had crop failures, humans bought extra food to keep their economy stable. When the builders overproduced construction materials, humans purchased the surplus to prevent price crashes. They were secretly maintaining economic balance across 12 different species." "But why?" asked Dr. Zeph, his gas cloud form swirling with confusion. Young Su, who had worked closely with humans, finally spoke up. "Because they wanted to learn from us without making us feel threatened. If we had known how advanced they really were, we would have been afraid. Fear makes people do stupid things." The investigation continued, but each new discovery was more shocking than the last. The humans had not just been students or partners, they had been teachers, guides, and protectors, all while pretending to be the ones who needed help. Dr. Hana, a xenobiologist studying human medical facilities, made another Disturbing discovery. Every major medical breakthrough in the past 50 years came from human research, she reported. The cure for crystalline decay that saved Chairman Veltar's people. Human discovery. The treatment for hive mind fragmentation that helped Kavi's species. Also human. But they always said other species developed those treatments, protested Dr. Zeph. They provided the research to other species and let them take credit, Hannah explained. They would solve a problem, then quietly give the solution to whoever needed it, making it look like that species had figured it out themselves. The pattern was everywhere. Humans had secretly solved problems for every member of the council, then stepped back and let others take credit. They had prevented wars by quietly providing information to both sides. They had stopped disasters by anonymously warning the right people at the right time. Chief Engineer Tejo was studying the massive space station that humans had built near the galactic core. Officially, it was a research facility. But Tejo's detailed scans revealed something incredible. This is not a research station, Tejo announced to his team. This is a shipyard, the most advanced shipyard I have ever seen. What kind of ships were they building? Asked his assistant. Ships designed for traveling between galaxies, Tejo replied, his voice filled with awe. The technology here is centuries ahead of anything we have, maybe thousands of years ahead. The shipyard was enormous, hidden inside what looked like a simple research station. It could build ships the size of small moons, vessels designed to carry millions of people across the vast emptiness between galaxies. How long have they been working on this? Tejo wondered aloud. The answer came when his team found the construction logs. The humans had been building their secret fleet for over 100 years, long before they even joined the Galactic Council. They never intended to stay, Tejo realized. They came here to learn from us, to study our technology and our cultures, but they always planned to leave. Back on Nexus Prime, the council members were struggling to understand what all these discoveries meant. For 60 years, they had thought they were the advanced civilizations guiding humanity toward enlightenment. But the truth was exactly the opposite. We were the students, Veltar admitted during a private meeting with the other senior council members. They were studying us like we were interesting specimens. But they helped us so much, Mira protested. They solved our problems, prevented our wars, improved our lives. Yes, agreed Young-Soo. But they did it while staying hidden. They never let us know how much smarter and more advanced they really were. They let us keep our pride while they secretly took care of us. The final piece of the puzzle came from the human embassy on the council's homeworld. Security expert Wu Jin had been searching through the building's computer systems when he found a hidden data core. You need to see this, Wu Jin announced over the communication system. The data core contained detailed psychological profiles of every alien species in the galaxy. The humans had studied how each race thought, what motivated them, what they feared, what they needed to feel happy and secure. They understood us better than we understand ourselves, Wu Jin reported. Every interaction they had with us was carefully planned to make us feel comfortable and important. They knew exactly what to say and do to keep us happy while they learned everything they wanted to know. As the investigation team shared their findings, a picture emerged of humanity that shocked everyone. Humans were not the eager junior partners they had appeared to be. They were incredibly advanced beings who had come to the galaxy to study its inhabitants before moving on to greater things. They had spent a century learning everything the galaxy had to offer. They had quietly improved the lives of billions of aliens. They had prevented countless disasters and conflicts. And when they had learned everything they wanted to know, they had simply left. The council was forced to face a terrible truth. They had not been teaching humans about civilization. Humans had been teaching them, guiding them, protecting them, all while pretending to be grateful students. And now the teachers were gone, leaving their students to manage alone. 4 months had passed since the humans disappeared. What started as confusion had turned into fear, and fear was becoming panic. The Galactic Council was facing the collapse of everything they had built. The first sign of real trouble came from the Outer Rim colonies. Governor Han Sol of the mining world Kepler 438b sent an urgent message to the council. We have a food crisis, Han Sol reported during an emergency session. Our crops are failing, and we do not know why. Dr. Nuri, the Council's agricultural expert, studied the reports from Kepler 438b. What she found was disturbing. The humans provided special bacteria for your soil, Nuri explained. These bacteria helped your crops grow in the poor conditions on your world. Without the humans to maintain the bacterial cultures, your soil is becoming dead. How long do we have? Asked Governor Han Sol. 6 months before total crop failure. Maybe 8 if you are lucky. This was just the beginning. Reports started, coming in from colonies across the galaxy. The human-designed water purification systems on New Aquaria were breaking down. The climate control systems on the ice world Frostar were failing. The medical equipment in hospitals throughout Council space was malfunctioning. Everything is connected, Engineer Sumin realized as she studied the growing list of problems. The humans did not just help us with individual projects. They created networks that connected everything. The truth was becoming clear. For decades, humans had quietly become the backbone of galactic civilization. They had not done this by force or by making themselves obviously important. Instead, they had made themselves essential in small, invisible ways. General Kixron of the Hegemony Fleet was not willing to accept defeat. His people were warriors, and warriors did not give up without a fight. I will take a fleet beyond the Galactic Rim, Kixron announced during a military planning session. We will find the humans and bring them back. Is that wise? Asked Veltar. We do not know what we will find out there. We cannot survive without them, Kixron replied. Every day we wait, more systems fail. We need the humans to come back and fix what they built. Kixron assembled the largest military fleet in Council history. 100 warships from 7 different species, carrying the most advanced weapons and sensors available. They jumped to the edge of the galaxy and prepared to cross into unknown space. What they found there shocked them. Sir, reported Commander Brix from the lead scout ship, we are detecting massive energy signatures ahead. What kind of energy? Kixron demanded. Unknown technology, but the power levels are incredible. As the fleet moved forward, they discovered a line of automated defense platforms floating in the void between galaxies. The platforms were clearly human-made, but they used technology far beyond anything the Council had ever seen. This is General Kixron of the Galactic Council Fleet. He broadcast on all frequencies. We demand to speak with human leadership. The response came immediately, but not in the way he expected. Every ship in his fleet suddenly lost power. Not damaged, not destroyed, just completely shut down. They floated helplessly in space while the defense platforms scanned them. Then, as quickly as it had disappeared, the power came back. A voice spoke over the communication system. It was Jinho, a human engineer who had worked on the Council for 20 years. General Kixron, Jinho said calmly, you need to turn around and go home. We demand answers, Kixron shouted. Our civilization is collapsing without your help. No, Jinho replied. We left you all the information you need to fix your problems. You just have to learn to use it without us. But people are dying. People die anyway, Jinho said sadly. That is the nature of life. We cannot protect you forever. You have to learn to protect yourselves. The communication ended. The defense platforms continued their silent watch. Kixron had no choice but to order his fleet to return home. Back on Nexus Prime, the Council was discovering just how deep their dependence on humans had become. Chief Scientist Nari was studying the technological databases that humans had left behind when they departed. Do not understand any of this, Nari admitted to her research team. The humans left us all their knowledge, but it is too advanced for us to use. The problem was not that the information was incomplete. The humans had been generous, leaving behind detailed instructions for everything from medical treatments to faster-than-light travel. But the technology was so far ahead of what other species understood that it might as well have been magic. It is like giving a Stone Age hunter a computer, explained Dr. Young Jae, who had worked closely with human scientists. The information is all there, but you need hundreds of years of scientific development to understand it. Meanwhile, The economic crisis was getting worse. Trade routes that had operated smoothly for decades were breaking down. Without human logistics networks, cargo ships were getting lost. Without human mediators, trading disputes were turning into conflicts. Economist Hyo Jin from the Trade Consortium was working around the clock trying to prevent total economic collapse. The humans were the glue that held everything together. Yojin reported to the Emergency Council session. They did not control our economy directly, but they managed all the connections between different species. Without them, we are just separate groups that do not know how to work together. The crisis was not just technological or economic, it was social and political too. Species that had been friendly for decades were starting to blame each other for their problems. The Aquarians are not sending us enough food, complained Representative Clax from the desert worlds. We cannot purify enough water without human-designed equipment, replied Ambassador Sura from the Aquarian Collective. Then fix your equipment. We do not know how. These arguments were happening all across council space. Without humans to quietly solve disputes and maintain cooperation, old prejudices and fears were returning. Cultural attaché Minju, who had studied interspecies relations, saw the pattern clearly. The humans were not just helping us with practical problems, Minju explained to Veltar during a private meeting. They were teaching us how to live together peacefully. Every time there was tension between species, they found ways to reduce the conflict. Now that they are gone, we are remembering why we used to fight each other. The situation was getting desperate. On the industrial world of Mechanos, the automated factories were shutting down one by one. The human-designed control systems were failing, and no one knew how to fix them. We will lose 60% of our manufacturing capacity within 6 months, reported Chief Engineer Taewan. After that, we will not be able to maintain our technology. On the research station Epsilon 7, scientists were abandoning projects they had worked on for years. Without human assistance, they could not solve the complex problems they were investigating. We are going backwards, Dr. Sojin admitted to her colleagues. Every day we understand less than we did the day before. The final blow came when Administrator Kang Min made a calculation that terrified everyone. At the current rate of technological and social decline, Kang Min announced to the council, our civilization will regress to pre-spaceflight levels within 50 years. The room fell silent. 50 years. That was how long they had before everything their ancestors had built would be lost. There has to be something we can do, Veltar said desperately. There is, replied Young Su, the diplomatic aide who knew humans better than anyone else. We can learn to live without them. The humans left us everything we need to succeed. We just have to figure out how to use it. But that could take centuries. Yes, Young-Soo agreed. It probably will. The humans spent 1,000 years developing their technology and wisdom. They cannot just give it to us instantly. We have to earn it the same way they did. As the council session ended, the representatives returned to their ships with heavy hearts. They finally understood what the humans had been trying to teach them all along. Independence was not just about having technology and resources. It was about having the wisdom and cooperation to use them properly. And that was something that could not be given as a gift. It had to be learned through experience, failure, and time. The humans had graduated to become something greater. Now the rest of the galaxy had to do the same, or watch everything they had built crumble into dust. 6 months had passed since the humans disappeared. The Galactic Council had been meeting almost every day trying to solve crisis after crisis. Species were arguing more than they had in centuries. Technology was failing across the galaxy. Some colonies had been abandoned because they could not survive without human-designed systems. Then something impossible happened. Chairman Veltar was in his private office on Nexus Prime when the alarms started ringing. Security Chief Backhoe's voice came over the communication system and he sounded confused and frightened. Chairman, you need to come to the main council chamber immediately. Something has appeared. What do you mean, appeared? Veltar asked. I cannot explain it, sir. You have to see this yourself. Veltar hurried through the corridors of the space station. When he reached the council chamber, He found all the security officers standing around something in the center of the room. They looked nervous and excited at the same time. In the middle of the great meeting table, where nothing had been before, sat a small crystal cube. It was perfectly clear and seemed to glow with its own light. Inside the cube, tiny stars moved in complex patterns. "How did this get here?" Veltar demanded. "We do not know, sir," replied Security Chief Backho. "The room was empty 10 minutes ago. We have recordings showing that nothing entered, but suddenly this cube was just there." "Have you scanned it?" "Yes, sir. It appears to be a data storage device, but the technology is unlike anything we have ever seen." Veltar called an emergency meeting. Within hours, representatives from all member species had arrived at Nexus Prime. They gathered around the mysterious cube, wondering what it meant. Dr. Sejun, the Council's expert on human culture, was the first to understand. "This is a message," Sejun announced. "The humans are trying to communicate with us." "How do you know?" asked Veltar. "Because this is how they think. They do not do things in obvious ways. They always leave clues for us to figure out." Dr. Nari, the chief scientist, carefully connected the cube to their most advanced computer systems. After several hours of work, she managed to activate it. The cube projected a hologram into the air above the council table. The image was of a human that many of them recognized, Ambassador Minho, who had worked with the council for 15 years. "Greetings, friends," Minho said with a sad smile. "If you are seeing this message, it means 6 months have passed since our departure. We hope you are well, though we know you are probably struggling." The council members watched in silence as the hologram continued. "We want you to know that leaving was not easy for us. Over the decades, we grew to love many of you. We made real friendships. We shared joys and sorrows. Leaving our friends was the hardest thing we have ever done." Minho paused, as if he was trying to find the right words. "But we had to leave. Not because we stopped caring about you, but because we cared too much. We were making you dependent on us, and that was not fair to any of us." The hologram showed images of humans working alongside different alien species. Humans helping to build cities, solving scientific problems, preventing conflicts between species. For a century, we tried to help you grow stronger and wiser. But we realized that our help was making you weaker. Every time we solved a problem for you, we prevented you from learning to solve it yourselves. Every time we prevented a conflict, we stopped you from learning how to make peace on your own. "You see," Minho continued, "true friendship is not about solving someone's problems for them. True friendship is about helping them become strong enough to solve their own problems." The image changed to show the galaxy from far above, with streams of light connecting different star systems. "We know that our departure has caused difficulties. Systems are failing. Trade routes are breaking down. Some of you are probably angry with us for leaving. We understand that anger and we accept it. But we also left you gifts. In the data cube you are watching, you will find all of our technological knowledge. Everything we learned during our time in this galaxy. Medical treatments, engineering design, scientific discoveries, diplomatic strategies. It is all there." The hologram of Minho looked directly at each council member, as if he could see them across space and time. "The knowledge we are giving you is the same knowledge we used to build our civilization, but knowledge alone is not enough. You also need wisdom. Wisdom cannot be given as a gift. It must be earned through experience. You will face challenges in the coming years. You will make mistakes. You will have disagreements and conflicts. Some of the technology we are leaving you will break, and you will have to figure out how to fix it. Some of the problems you face will seem impossible to solve. But we have faith in you. We have seen your courage, your creativity, your capacity for growth. You are capable of building something beautiful together. You just need time to learn how." The hologram changed again, showing images of the vast space beyond the galactic rim. "As for us, we are continuing our journey. We have found new challenges, new frontiers to explore. We are building something that has never existed before. A civilization that spans multiple galaxies. This does not mean we have forgotten you. You will always be our first teachers, our first friends among the stars. Everything we learned from you is helping us grow into something greater." The image of Minho smiled again, but this time, the sadness was mixed with hope. Perhaps someday, when you have grown as much as we have grown, we will meet again. Not as teachers and students, not as protectors and protected, but as equals exploring the universe together. Until then, remember what we tried to teach you. The greatest strength comes not from having someone else solve your problems, but from learning to solve them together. The hologram faded, leaving the council members sitting in stunned silence. Dr. Nari activated her scanner and gasped. "The cube contains everything: complete technological databases, medical information, engineering specifications, scientific theories we have never seen before." "How advanced is it?" asked Veltar. "Centuries ahead of anything we have." "Maybe thousands of years ahead. It will take us decades just to understand the basic concepts." Over the following weeks, the council began to study the human gift. Teams of scientists from every species worked together, trying to understand the advanced knowledge the humans had left behind. It was slow, difficult work. The technology was so advanced that they had to learn new mathematical concepts just to read the basic instructions. But gradually, they began to make progress. Engineer Jin Wu from the Mechanic Guild was the first to successfully repair a failing water purification system using human knowledge. It took him 6 weeks to understand the instructions, but when the system started working again, his celebration could be heard throughout the space station. "I did it!" Jin Wu shouted over the communication system. "I fixed it myself!" Dr. Hana from the Medical Council successfully synthesized a new medicine using human formulas. The medicine could treat 3 different diseases that had been puzzling doctors for years. "It works exactly as the humans said it would," Hana reported excitedly. "But now I understand why it works. I can modify it to treat other diseases too." As the months passed, more and more alien scientists achieved breakthrough discoveries using human knowledge. But these were not just copies of human technology. Each species adapted the knowledge to their own needs and capabilities, creating new inventions that even the humans had never imagined. The Aquarians used human medical knowledge to develop new treatments for water-based life forms. The crystalline people adapted human energy technology to work with their unique physiology. The insect-like hive worlds created collective intelligence systems based on human computer designs. This is what they wanted, Sejun realized during a council meeting. They did not just give us their technology, they gave us the tools to develop our own technology. But the most important change was not technological, it was social. For the first time in decades, the different species were working together as equals. Without humans to mediate their disputes, they had to learn to communicate directly with each other. Without humans to solve their problems, they had to learn to cooperate. It was not easy. There were arguments and misunderstandings. Some negotiations failed and some projects collapsed, but gradually the different species learned to trust each other and work together. "We are becoming what the humans always hoped we could become," observed Young-Soo during one of the daily progress meetings. "Independent, cooperative, and strong." A year after the humans departed, long-range sensors detected something incredible near the galactic rim. Massive energy signatures unlike anything they had ever seen. Structures the size of solar systems under construction in the void between galaxies. "They are building something enormous out there," reported Chief Astronomer Parkman. "Whatever it is, it makes our largest space stations look like tiny toys." The council voted to send an unmanned probe to investigate. When the probe reached the construction site, it transmitted images that left everyone speechless. The humans were building a ring around an entire star. The ring was so large it could hold billions of people. Other similar structures were under construction around nearby stars. It was engineering on a scale that no one had thought possible. But the most amazing discovery came when the probe was returning to council space.